Okay, so I know we talked about an alpha male the other day, and I know it's kind of feels a bit redundant to talk about them again. But today, actually, I was watching a different video, and it turns out that looks like the government is not very fond of red pill content. And before we really talk about it, I just find it interesting because, when these people were all in their little zones and they were just all by themselves, it was just like, okay, well, you have these people who are saying this interesting advice or whatever, and that's it. They make some interesting content. They say, yeah, but some stuff's a bit out of pocket, but it's in its little bit of corner. It's just there. However, now that red pill, and especially with like Andrew Tate, even though I've seen the Tate say they're not red pill, interestingly enough, even though I've seen the Tates, talk about how they're not red pill, they actually are one of the people who brought it more into the mainstream, which is really interesting because, the more mainstream Andrew Tate went, now he's facing some charges of trafficking. Interesting enough, and stuff getting leaked and all that. And it's interesting how you have somebody who was kind of not really well known beforehand and who basically self-snitched a lot before. Now he's being outed with the stuff that come out because guess what? People will start digging up clips. But I actually want to read it to you guys because it's a bit more interesting than we actually give it credit for. And then we'll talk about it shortly. So essentially what we have here, the Peril Plants. In 2023, a CVE organization called Peril at American University was awarded $750,000 under the DHS-TVTP program to inoculate teens against extremism. This program is overseen by an MSNBC columnist named Cynthia Miller Idris. You may remember Miller Idris for when she recently flamed online by Elon Musk for her article relating physical fitness to white supremacy. Okay. Interesting profile we have here. The grant states it will use short-term video inoculation strategies to interrupt pathways to violent extremism, and that Peril has teamed up with Google's Jigsaw and with a media production company called Long Story Short Media, LSS, to do this. The full grant is in this link over here, and LSS Media has quite the client list: the Clinton Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Google, Yahoo News, and the CDC, among others. LSS behind the popular Spotify podcast Conspiracyland, which they made for Yahoo. So we have quite a bit of credentials with these kind of people, and it's actually kind of interesting how we are here today, and we have people actually clamoring against this type of content. But of course, there's another tweet that's actually been added to this, and I want to read it here, and it says, DH notes that they were unable to run the campaign on a few of their planned targets due to YouTube demonetization. Later in the report, they claimed that demonetization doesn't slow the growth of large channels and the use this to advocate for demonetizing creators when they are still small and unable to fight back. Now, I don't know about you guys, but how many people do you know have been demonetized and then you hear about how they are, well, actually, my laundry is getting wet. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, wow, it just started raining all of a sudden and I put my clothes out to dry, but anyways, that's besides the point. So what I was saying was that demonetization can be a very huge factor, because think about it this way: when you're demonetized, you can't make money off people simply watching your content. Nobody's going to want to even sponsor you because you don't make money. You don't make money for them. You're not worth the brand risk to do that. So if Manscaped sees that you're demonetized, Manscaped's going to look at your content and say, okay, what does this guy post to make demonetized content? These whores are lying. These whores are doing this. Yeah, no. If you talk about whores all the time and wanting to make people, strip women's voting rights, I don't believe a brand wants to associate, and they don't have to. So, yeah. Just want to put that out there. And there's even a whole list of them, actually, if we take a look at it right here. It looks like they have a male supremacy scale metric, and then look at their subscribers count since 2023, and look at subscriber counts since March of 2024, and look at the increase in percentage. Now, there's actually a lot that goes into these percentages, so don't just take it as, oh my god, they're getting more popular. It's a bit more than that, because some people might go really viral in one instance and then get demonetized the next, or in some other cases, people have always been growing, but even being demonetized, it's whatever. Point is that somebody like Just Pearly Things, who's on this list right here, has 1 million subs, but it's like her actual videos will get maybe 20K views, or hell, even if she gets like really popular off of shorts, she gets the short count, and then it's like, okay, it goes back down again. So we're just gonna look really quickly into some of these people. So you have Sandman at 93, the real MTR at 92, and the growth increase percents of 1.48 and 7.40. Legion of Men 91 at 6.09, the Rational Male at 89, 1.38, and Fresh and Fit Clips. And oh god, our boy Araco TV is at 66 and 9.09%. And of course, Araco's the one who gave me who I took the video from for the last one with the alpha male on the panel. So I actually don't watch his content, but it's just interesting. So I wonder how like this metric is really scaled, because you have like male supremacy. Is it like if you're talking about, because I believe like just Pearly things should be a bit higher. How is she only 85? Even like Fresh and Fish should be higher as well, because I don't know how the scale works, but it's just interesting how that scale is just like, it's just sitting there. But how do I actually feel about all this? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Government intervention's a bit iffy to me, in the sense that because sometimes when the government steps in, it actually makes stuff a lot worse. And there's a lot of other projects I would prefer the government should be working on, other than, getting rid of some of these channels, because YouTube does, a pretty decent job of stamping them out anyways. Like, YouTube doesn't really keep them around. And the ones that get popular, they don't stay popular for long. And I always say this too, but like, the real reason why the red pill is going to die, or at least if it doesn't die after this, the reason why it's dead, is because, well, it ended up getting more people started to hear about it, and more people were like, okay, let's go and actually watch these guys. Because I remember when I found Fresh and Fit, I actually found them on separately. I found them off of like some dude I used to watch where he was clowning some people on the podcast. So I was like, okay, let me go see what kind of content they make. And also was familiar with some other people who were there. And then I watched their content, and I'm just like, okay, this is a bit much. Like, this is more like a soap opera than a podcast. Okay? And hey, it worked in their favor. They got their money. But what ended up happening? They messed around and found out, and guess what? All the monkey noises, all that stuff that they've been doing, the salute with the mustache man, yeah, that's gonna get you demonetized. And it could have been much worse. I mean, abusing the copyright system, we can go on and on. And also, Pearl has been known for doing the same kind of stuff. But anyways, also, I believe she's also on Piers Morgan as well, which, if you want to go mainstream, that's how you get popular. You go on Piers Morgan, and that's how people look at you and be like, okay, this idiot wants to take away 50% of the population's vote, get her out of here. And so who wants to see that? Now, on the other hand, okay, the reason why I'm also not a fan of stamping these people out is just because I prefer people to go out of their way and like combat the ideas, like actually challenge the ideology, because what ends up happening is sometimes when the government will step in, what you might get is that more content, which is a bit more blurred on the line, is going to probably get the same accent, which is why I'm not the biggest fan of this. And hell, like I said, even like this channel I have right here, who knows? Maybe I have a take one day that's just a bit off, and they say, all right, you gotta go. So the line is very, you know what I mean, when it comes to like that. But anyways, that's kind of how I feel about the whole situation. Do I understand it? Yes. Do I like it? Not really. In terms of that, because when you let people actually sit down and debunk ideas for themselves and challenge the ideas themselves, even if they get it wrong, at least you give them the chance to do it. And that's why I like to leave idiots up, because when you take idiots down, idiots get a bit smarter, and they start changing up the message and making it more easier to navigate underwards. Because like I said, you could have an actual misogynist lurking around on this platform right now, but because he massages the message a little bit, then hey, that's how it goes. You know what I mean? It's amazing how like high profile stuff can go from like this, and then it goes down to like this. So honestly, yeah, going mainstream is a good way to get investigated. I mean, people knew about Diddy for years, and guess what happened? A video comes out. Okay, now we're gonna have to look into this a bit. We're gonna look at this man even more than we already are looking into. Now I know that the FBI raided his home and all that, but I'm saying Diddy getting outed even more was actually a sign of like, okay, this guy might be a bit strange. And I mentioned earlier, Tate's. There's, I don't know, even like, what's his face? Ugh, man. What is it? Hold on, I know his name. Okay. Oh yeah, even like EDP445. No, that name's a bit. You gotta be a little careful with that name actually. Even that one. Okay. Or it's a better one. Buckets of hot cheese. Sorry. Extreme Diabolical Pounds. That's what I was trying to find the name. Okay. Yeah, shout out low tier god for that one. But you get the point. Even with him, he wasn't really like early investigated until, or at least was supposed to be investigated until he was outed. And anyways, that's what ended up happening. So you get the point here. You know, go big or go home. In this case, go big and get canceled, or go big and get investigated. That's really what it comes down to. And you know, I mean, this ideology was never going to last to begin with, because once you start going into the extremism part of it, brands are going to look at you and be like, not so much. And then YouTube's going to look at it and be like, okay, they have articles and we have bad press. We're not doing this. That's really what it comes down to. And it is what it is. I know this is not really in everybody's best interest, but it's like, it's for the platform's best interest. And I'm just like, well, I mean, hey, if these guys are gone, I will not miss them, because there's a lot of stuff I can talk about that isn't this. But as Red Pill is kind of going to like towards the end of its life cycle, I'm sure something else will take over again, and then we will be there to clown it as well. But in this case right now, that's what we have here. But anyways, you get the point here. Red Pill is basically done for. I don't see it ever making a resurgence again. And if it does, then it'll be massaged as something else. I don't know, men empowerment or something. Who knows? But yeah, I got nothing else to say about this one. Government's gonna come in and put its foot down, so be it. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow my social down in the description below. And that's enough out of me for today, so ciao.